You were the first one doing what you did, so you had to educate your market.
Correct.
What's your recommendation in overcoming those two?
Again, that actually was one of my challenges. Everyone thought it was too good to be true. What do you mean we can go to Wild Body and 50%, like buy one, get one free? I'm like, you can, there's a catch to this. You know, it took me a year to educate people that there was no catch. You just have to really use your voice again. You have to prove that it does work. So again, with the entertainment, gosh, I look back the first year. I was physically going to people in the restaurants. I was signing up with restaurants, asking them if they're not eating, can I go and speak to them about the entertainer? Because they can actually get a free meal here next time and encourage. So when people weren't working, you have to have that. But then what I did to make sure, because the biggest thing for me was if somebody bought the entertainer, that the redemption loop. It was, they had to accept it. There'd be nothing worse if you bought it and the waiter goes, we don't accept that here. So I think I went to nearly every single restaurant and ate there to make sure they used the vouchers properly. So it was an education. And then really, the entertainment was really a word of mouth tool. And I set up like a dog show and sold books at Fates. I mean, I did everything. Never think you're too good to do something, because I'll be doing that again with the new line. But really, the chicken and egg is, if someone doesn't know about it, you've got to make sure they know about it. And if you don't have any marketing budget, which I didn't, you're it. You've got to be the marketing person and get out there and do it. Get creative. And today is a lot easier to market than it was 18 years ago, because there's so many different platforms that you can do it on. So you have to be creative, and you've got to think outside the box of where to go and what to do. And you make people see it.
I have a question at the end.
Hi Donna.
Hi.
You have an amazing story when you bootstrapped this company on a shoestring budget. So I'm wondering, like, in the very, very early days, like, if you can remember roughly, like, how did you decide how to use the money, and what were the most like value-added things that you did back then to just get started?
Yeah, well, if I could change something now, I'd probably than that. But the seed investment for my friend was 120,000 dirham. So that went towards the trade license. So I was fortunate that Media City was just starting out, so I could actually, I had my trade license and I didn't have to pay rent for a year because I could work from home because it wasn't built yet. So that was one key. But to be honest, I bought a car outright, which I probably should not have, because I needed to get around, but I probably should have at least one. I bought those big, fantastic wooden book stands that nobody wanted because they took up too much floor space. So I basically did all the wrong things with the money. I didn't take salary for 2 years though, just to really function. So the answer to your question is, if you probably wouldn't have asked me 18 years ago, so it would have been wrong. But now, if you were starting up, what the most important things are, well, I don't know your business, so it's difficult a little bit, but all your legalities have to be right. And another key thing is, if you've got staff, you have to have enough money in there to pay them. That's one thing I'm really proud of. In all my years of entertainer, there was not one single salary that was late for anybody. So everybody got paid. That is key. You have to pay your staff. And depending on, just really negotiate the terms. If you need something, offer 60 days, 90 days, really push as much as you can for terms. And cash flow is key. Cash flow can make or break a company. So you just have to be smart, really, with your spending. Like if you get a car, don't buy it outright. Replace it.
Can we have a mic? Anyway, you're all gonna get a turn.
It's starting from the back, so we go.
We're gonna go with the lady here.
Okay.
And then we'll go.
Hi. Yeah, my name is Yasmin, and I have a question. So, when you first initially thought of the idea of entertainer, just the idea,
Yep.
what were the following 5 things that really made your idea go live and made you successful and made your idea successful afterwards, that we can learn from?
Oh, good question. My confidence, your energy. You've got to have energy. Whatever you're selling, okay, I'll give it to you. I'm selling a pair of, I'm selling you a Sunto. This is perfect. If I said to you tonight, oh yeah, I've got this watch brand, yeah, it's a competitive one, it's called Sunto, it's a really good watch. that doesn't really cut it. But what I did to you is, wow, we've got this great watch at Sunto, it's got great battery life, you know, it does every single sport, it comes in different colours, we've got different watch bands, it's cheaper, blah, blah, blah. You're like, wow, she really believes in Sunto, you know. So one is energy. You have to have energy. Second is you have to be decent with money. That is one thing. You have to be relevant. You have to be able to manage money. I think that's also really key. I'm trying to think of it really. Do you want all the really beginning things?
No, the first initial things that you've done really, that made your idea.
Well, the very first initial things that I did.
You had an idea. What are the things that you've done directly afterwards, after having the idea?
Okay,
That
I went to
made
the
your
internet
idea
cafe
go
because I didn't have a computer, and I did a feasibility study down at the internet cafe. So one, you need to do figures and a feasibility. Different options, but you need that. After that, I went and spoke to anyone that would hear me for 120,000 dirham. So that was the second thing I did, because you can't go any further without any money. Once I got that, then I went and did all the legalities. I did all the office structure and set up, so I did the legalities. And the next thing I did was, because I believed in myself, so this was working. There was, people say, did you ever not think? I'm like, no. You know, and that's not arrogant, by the way, absolutely not. That's more, I really believed in it. The next thing I did was I went and got it wasn't a Time Out then, it might have been WhatsApp Connector, one of the magazines, and I literally sat there and I ran every single restaurant. I went and got to the PA, to the F&B manager, anyone. The hardest part was getting through those PAs, and set up a meeting, and I didn't have my car yet, so I got into a taxi, and I had all my forms to go and sign them in. So the first person was the Marriott. If you've read that, that would be it. My first one was 5 Fine Dining, and he signed off. And if you ask him today, he signed off because it's not just the concept, it was my energy and my belief. That's what he did. He signed off more money than I actually came here with. So that put me on a high. That was 4 things I did. And the 5th one, to be honest, I would just, as 5, I just really went out and just saw all the merchants. It was sales, 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 because that was the foundation. Even today, without the merchants, you can have the best app in the world, but if you don't have the merchants, you've got nothing to put on it, you know. So they were pretty much probably the 5 key things that I did.